I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited for James Gunn's new slate of DC movies. Even though I'm sad that Henry Cavill's Superman is gone, I'm still pretty excited to see David Cornsweet's take on the character. When it comes to his world's finest partner, I'm less excited and more intrigued about the new Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie announcement. I know that this take on the Bat family is in a pretty tough spot. It still, however, has the potential to be great. In this video, I'm going to go over my major questions and concerns for the future of Batman in the DCU. But before we move on, please be sure to like and subscribe to Reverb Comics. You do not want to miss out on our awesome content. James Gunn went on to explain in his DCU Project Slate announcement that Damien Wayne will finally get live action treatment. Like a lot of you, I love Damien Wayne. I even made a character essay on the guy. When you think about it, having a 12-year-old kid running around with a katana beating criminals up would fit perfectly into a Batman project. To make a Bat family flick is really fun and exciting. At first, I thought to myself, this new Batman film has the potential to introduce an entirely unique, new, and never been done before Batman movie to the world. Then, after a while, I said to myself that it's also going to be incredibly hard to make a quality story if James Gunn chooses to go in this direction. The first thing that he's going to have to do is address the plot hole. Now, it seems like Batman, the Brave and the Bold will be inspired by Grant Morrison's run on the character. In fact, I'm really confident that the film will be inspired by this series since Grant Morrison created the Damian Wayne character. Even though I love this series, there's one glaring plot hole if you think about it. How can the world's greatest detective not know about the existence of his own son for 10 to 12 years? I mean, sure, he was drugged by Talia and lost all recollections of getting intimate with her that night, but even still, how can you call this guy the world's greatest detective if he's not aware that he has a son? If this plot thread is carried into the Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie, it may not paint him in the best light to fans. I say this because fans get very upset when Batman behaves out of character. For example, in the first trailer for the CW Batwoman show, a reporter mentioned that Batman abandoned Gotham City.
Batman gave up on us. The Bat's not coming back.
Understandably, this left many fans confused and upset. Why would Batman all of a sudden abandon his mission to save Gotham? Also, why would the world's greatest detective not keep tabs on the League of Assassins and learn about his son? Batman must be an extremely capable human being in order to fight not just regular crooks, but powerful metahumans as well. Making Batman look inept in any way, shape, or form has the potential to cause major plot holes. James Gunn also has to deal with the major exposition dump that he'll probably run into. Let's be real, there's probably going to be a big exposition dump for the casual fans. James Gunn is aware that these movies need to be made not just for the die-hard comic book fans, but for the curious fans as well. After all, you just can't build a community if you start to exclude people. It's smart, yet overly ambitious for James Gunn to take this approach. If you think about it, James Gunn has his work cut out for him. In his announcement, he mentions that this will be a Bat family movie, meaning other members of the Bat family like Nightwing, Red Hood, and Oracle will more than likely be introduced in the movie. This means he'll have to introduce the new Batman, Damian Wayne, the League of Assassins, and the pre-existing members of the Bat family without slowing down the pace of the story. Hopefully the new dynamic duo movie that features Nightwing and the Red Hood will get everyone up to speed before this new Batman flick comes around. Now, this brings me to my next point, the age issue. As we all know, Damian is usually depicted as a 10 to 12-year-old assassin. Now, don't get me wrong, I love how Damian is this kid that runs around with a katana that beats criminals up at night. The point I'm trying to make here is that this can only last for a finite amount of time if this character gets live action treatment. The same thing happened with the Shazam films. Asher Angel, the actor who played Billy Batson, was around 15 years old when he was shooting the first Shazam movie. Now, I imagine he was around 17 or 18 years old when he was shooting for the second Shazam movie. As we all know, what makes the Shazam Captain Marvel stories so much fun is that Billy Batson, a 14-year-old kid, gets to turn into a grown adult superhero whenever he wants. Of course, pulling this concept off gets trickier and trickier when the actor who plays the kid gets older. Despite how Shazam, the Fury of the Gods movie bombed at the box office, the fact that Asher Angel is too old to play a young kid right now is probably why we're not going to see another Shazam sequel. And to be fair, a lot of creative teams run into this problem. Netflix ran into this problem a couple of times. I imagine that they had to stop the Umbrella Academy series at season 4 because the actor who plays number 5 is getting older and older. For those of you who don't know, number 5 is a grown man who's stuck inside a child's body. That concept gets less fun when the actor who plays the character is no longer a child. Also, Netflix probably had to renew Avatar: The Last Airbender for season 2 and 3 since they got worried that the actors who play Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Zuko would get too old to play those characters. If James Gunn goes in this direction, he'll probably have to cast a 12-year-old kid if he's lucky to find a talented actor that young and hope that he stays looking young somehow for at least a decade. Some actors can really pull off playing a character younger than themselves. For example, I was pretty surprised when I learned that the actor who plays Zuko is in his early 20s. No offense to that guy, but I thought he was a teenager. Anyways, the point is, I don't know how James Gunn is going to get away with this one. For some reason, the comic book medium has gotten away with keeping their characters at the same age for decades. I think Superman and Batman have been in their early 30s for a little over 80 years now. I don't know about you, but I don't know how long the appeal for the Damien Wayne character will last when the actor who eventually plays him is no longer a kid. Now on to my next point, the Abundancy of Batman. This movie has to differentiate itself as much as possible from Matt Reeves' The Batman. From what I've heard, Matt Reeves will introduce a version of Robin in his Batman universe. It would be a pretty tough sell to get Robert Pattinson's Batman to adopt a 12-year-old Dick Grayson to get him to fight crime in a grounded, gritty, and realistic Gotham. But if Matt Reeves goes in this direction, his movie may end up being similar to James Gunn's Batman. In order for James Gunn to differentiate his Batman from Matt Reeves' Batman, James Gunn will have to lean into the more sensational, larger-than-life, and wacky concepts that make Batman stories amazing. Otherwise, why would you want to make two of the same movies at the same time? It's a tough yet essential job for the Batman, the Brave and the Bold movie to distance itself as much as possible from Matt Reeves' Batman. I'm excited that there's a new Batman movie and more members of the Bat family are finally getting their movie debut. But I just can't help but feel as though this introduction will be overshadowed by the previous Batman projects. Matt Reeves' Batman was awesome. The Dark Knight is so well received that you can literally find hundreds if not thousands of reviews that highlight just how intelligent and thought-provoking the movie is. And for crying out loud, Batman 1989 was so good that they brought back Michael Keaton's Batman for the Flash movie. It's an understatement to say that this new Batman movie has a lot to live up to. I think they'll do something radically different in this next movie, which is a point I'll get back to at the end of this video. Now on to the next part, the Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne issue. Another reason as to why I'm more intrigued and excited for the next Batman film is because I'm not confident in the Bruce Wayne and Damian Wayne dynamic. Let me explain why. Bruce and Damian have way too much in common. They both have jaded, aggressive, and disagreeable personalities. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some awesome conflict and drama that happens between Bruce and Damian. In Grant Morrison's run, shortly after Bruce Wayne comes to the realization that he has a son, he becomes aware that Damian has crossed a line that should never be crossed. When he was first introduced, Damian went against Batman's no-killing policy. Is Damian entirely at fault for his actions? Well, yes and no. Don't get me wrong, killing someone as an adolescent is pretty messed up. But let's not forget, Damian was not raised in an environment where human life was of value. He was raised by the League of Assassins. He was trained to become one of the best stone-cold killers in the world. Despite this, Bruce and Damian's relationship did not get off to a great start. Much like Bruce, Damian works best with a personality that complements his as opposed to a personality that imitates his own. Bruce Wayne's Batman arguably works best with Dick Grayson's Robin. The tough, closed-off, and angry Bruce Wayne shines best when he's working with the optimistic, innocent, and youthful Dick Grayson. In Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin run, a much older Dick Grayson chose to take up the Batman mantle when Bruce was presumed to be dead. What I love about this series is that Grant Morrison managed to flip this Batman and Robin dynamic on its head. The optimistic, charismatic, and confident Dick Grayson is paired up with the cold, antisocial, and critical Damian Wayne. Dick Grayson and Damian Wayne's pairing is one of the elements that made Grant Morrison's Batman and Robin series such a high-quality story. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Dick Grayson eventually became the next Batman in the DCU and Damian Wayne becomes his Robin. Going in this direction would make James Gunn's Batman radically different from Matt Reeves' Batman. I'm just not confident in the Bruce and Damian Wayne pairing. To put it simply, if you have two leading characters that have more or less the same personality, I'm not confident that it will lead to an interesting back and forth between the characters. This is why I'm almost certain that a more optimistic character like Dick Grayson's Nightwing or Tim Drake's Red Robin will be included in the Batman the Brave and the Bold movie to balance out Bruce and Damian's hardcore attitudes. Now, that's not to say that this new Batman movie will be a complete disaster. It's in a pretty tough spot for sure, yet I still think it has the potential to be great. I have no doubt that James Gunn is cooking up something great for the fans. He's been in the movie making business for years. He understands storytelling better than a lot of other filmmakers in Hollywood. I just can't help but feel as though there's one too many factors that will hinder as opposed to help the quality of this Batman movie. There's no doubt that James Gunn put himself in a tough spot. It's difficult yet entirely possible for the Batman the Brave and the Bold movie to be one of the best Batman movies in history. But what do you think? Do you think James Gunn's new Batman film will have a lot to live up to? What do you want to see in the DCU? As always, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe to Reverb Comics so that you do not miss out on our awesome content. Stay groovy. Oh, and before I forget, how is David Cornsweat's Superman going to inspire Dick Grayson to become Nightwing? In the comics, Batman fired Dick as Robin, and Superman gave him a pep talk to be his own hero. He told him about a crime-fighting duo named Nightwing and Flamebird centuries ago on Krypton. Hence, Dick took the Nightwing name. If David Cornsweat's Superman is just starting out, how is he going to give that inspirational story to Dick? I hope they don't ruin Nightwing like they did on the Titans. They really did him dirty. Anyways, rant over. Now you can stay groovy.